Okay guys, in this video I'm going to demonstrate to you how you give a rear shock absorber service. So we do stock the service kits on our parts on our site in the parts department, so you can order yourself one of those. So yeah, I'm going to run through the process of how to strip this down, how to replace the seals, and then how to put it all back together basically. So to do that, what you're going to need is a vise. Make sure it's ideally a soft jaw vise, then you're not going to cause any damage. But ultimately we also do stock the hardware kits for these, so if you do end up damaging any of these, you can buy replacements of those as well. Just for this video, I'm just going to show you how to dismantle the shock, replace the seals, and then put it back together, i.e. just do a minor service on the shock absorbers. So yeah, what you need then is you get yourself a vise, ideally something with a good long arm. Once you've got it clamped to the device, you basically want to use this, hold the motor body, and then you're just going to rotate that top cap around to break the seal. One thing just to mention before you do that is make sure you've released the air out of the chamber. If you don't release that air, then you undo that cap, then effectively it can just shoot up into the ceiling. So make sure that you decompress the chamber to make sure you get rid of all that air before you undo that top cap. Okay guys, once you've undone the main chamber from the top cap, for you to be able to remove this chamber off the shock, you are going to have to remove the bottom hardware for the shock absorber. So you've got some plastic collars that sit across this this collar here, I guess. So you need to make sure you can tap this or use the vise basically to try and press it out and slide this up. You can't get past that collar. So we need to make sure we remove this before we go any further. Okay guys, so I've just been to the vise, remove the top cap or undone the top cap, obviously removing the pressure first. I've then also removed the bottom hardware off the shock absorber. Just a word of note, when you're putting this into the vise to remove this, make sure you use soft jaws. As you can see from here, I've used metal jaws. That's all we have here at the moment, and you can see it's damaged the surface of the shock absorber there. So just make sure that you've got some. It doesn't necessarily have to be soft jaws, but something over the top of those jaws in to make sure you're not going to scratch the surface. And then I'll just use a socket basically just to remove that collar to hit it through. Okay, so now remove the bottom hardware, I've undone the top cap. What I can now do is slide this chamber off and expose the internal components. Now inside here there should be a seal, so I'm just using a pick just to gently take this out. Well, you'll be able to do it by hand. There we go, pull that off. There's a white plastic one in here as well, so this is the one that's very tricky to get out. So just run the pick around, break the seal, and lift it up, and there it comes. As you can see, you're going to damage it when you're taking it out. So I wouldn't even entertain cleaning this up and reusing it. As soon as you get some in the kit, you may as well just replace it. Even with the seals, they might look okay, but they just degrade over time, and you might not. To the naked eye, you might think it looks absolutely fine, but as soon as you get everything in the kit, you may as well just replace it. Okay, so now you've removed all of those seals, it's worth just giving this a good clean out. It has got bits of grease in there, so I've got some more grease to replenish that, but it's worth just getting rid of all that gunk in there. I've removed the air chamber seal, which you saw, that's what we're doing there. So now we're going to replace, there's 3 seals here. You've got rubber gasket in the middle, and then it's kind of sandwiched between these 2 nylon bushes. They're like a split bush really. So we're going to remove all of that, take out the new components, give them a grease up before we put them back in there, and then reinstall those. So I'll start doing that now. So it's worth it at this point, once you've taken out those 3 components inside there, just give that a good clean up in case there's any grit or anything that's got inside there. Ideally, if you've got any degreaser, that would be the best thing to use. Okay, so now I'll open up the kit, take out the replacements, the reseals there, and then reinstall them onto this part here. So we've got the 2 nylon washers, and then we've got the main seal. So before we fit any of these, it's worth just giving them a good grease up. Reinstall it onto this. Onto that collar. Perfect. Again with the nylon washers, we'll put a bit of grease on. If you notice on this nylon washer that there is actually, where the split is, it's got like 2 concave sort of faces to it. So you want to make sure that you get it the right side Because if you put it on this side, I don't know if you can capture that. Effectively, it's like it's a step, whereas if you, I guess it's like it fits like that. Whereas if it's the opposite side, it's kind of pushing it out. If that makes any sense. So you just want to make sure that both of those like chamfered edges meet each other. It just gives it a nice straight edge to it then, and it gives it a proper seal. Push it over. Again, making sure that's on the right side. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm just going to reinstall the 3 seals inside the motor body. Now these are quite tricky because it's quite a narrow hole. This nylon spacer, I guess, is a bit flexible, but just be very careful you don't kink it too much or damage too much of it, but you do need to be a bit sort of manhandle it a bit, I guess, to get it actually into its little recess in there. So this is definitely the one I would start with first. And what I tend to do is do it at a slight angle so you can just start to get it in there, and you can then slowly work your way around. The last little bit in. There we go. Okay, so that's the nylon one, nylon bush. First, we then go with the rubber bush. Just also to let you know, I've already greased these, but make sure you grease these components before you put back in. So work your way around. Okay, so that's now the rubber seal in there. And then the last one is the little sweeper one, which sits at the top. Again, once you kind of get one edge in, you can just work yourself around. It's probably worth just giving that a last bit of grease. Okay, that's it. So, going back to the actual, the main shock itself then, there was one other seal, it was this big O-ring basically, sits in this top cap here. So I've already removed the old one. So I'm now going to fit the new one back onto the cap. Okay guys, so I replaced all the seals, all the body's now re-greased with the new seals as well. So what I'm going to do now is reapply the body. Now you can, there's a bit of pressure there, so it's a bit difficult. So you can just start this by hand. There we go. And then, yeah, stick it in the vise, tighten up that cap as much as you can. And then you're good to go. To make sure you reapply the pressure to the rider, reinstall it to the bike, and that's how you service the shock. Okay, thanks guys.